Hi, welcome to another episode of the Gray Area Podcast. This is TJ. As always, I'm here with the Mchezo Bwana. Mchezo, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
All right. And, as always, it's what we do is 15-minute conversation starters uh, about thought-provoking subjects. And we want you guys to continue this in the comments. And please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications because we put these out sporadically. So you'll know when the next one comes out. But this one today, we're talking about something that we talked about before, but, it kind of happened again. Why don't you just, Machezo, take me through kind of what happened?
It's just again somebody said that I think that I'm better than them. And I'm
Hmm.
just trying to figure out me myself. I was thinking about it the last time we talked about this. I would never even think to even say that to somebody else.
Right.
Hey man, you think you're better than me? Like, where does that even come from in your opinion? Because I've had um relatives say it to me. I've had friends say it to me. Like I said, I had a friend offer me some to smoke something, and I said, no, I'm good on
Mhm.
smoke. And then he came with that, you think you better than me stuff. I've had exes say it. So what do you think the root of you think you better than me is? Because like I said, I would never even once I thought about it, I'm like, I would never even say that to somebody. You think you better than me?
I would never tell anybody what they're thinking, right? Ask them, maybe, but, when someone says, you think you're better than me, you don't know what I'm thinking, shut up. But, yeah, I think it's just rude to assume what somebody else is thinking, number one. But also, I think that really comes from, I think that's on them. Whether you think that or not really doesn't matter. It's on them for it to pop into their mind, and I think it comes from a place of their own insecurities,
Hmm.
right? So we talked about, the guy that offered you to smoke. He said, "No, I don't smoke." He says, "Oh, you think you're better than me?" Well, you must know there's something wrong with smoking in the first place, or you must think that there's something bad about smoking in the first place if that's the first place you go to, right? So you must be a little self-conscious about what people think about you because you're a smoker,
Hmm.
so yeah, so I think that's where it comes from. What was this? What happened in this particular instance?
It's
What
not.
brought it
It's not
up?
even important. And nothing brought it up. It was just told to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Just random,
when is it ever brought up? Somebody get emotional and then they just say it. They say what they really feeling, I guess, when they get emotional. And
yeah, I think we talked about this before. Is like both of us are trying to better ourselves, right? Has nothing to do with other people. Has nothing with me trying to be better than you, or you trying to be better than other people. Just me trying to be better than the person I was yesterday, right? And I think a lot of people misconstrue that as, oh, I'm trying to be better than you, or I'm better than you. And if they were on their own path, they would understand that that's not how it works. You see what I mean?
yeah, I guess they
Um,
just worried about other people. Um, you
yeah, you,
know,
you worry too much about other people when you say shit like that.
yeah. Because I'm thinking, I went broke, and I noticed people started saying this. So I don't know if they think I have a bunch of money, and I think this. I don't know what's going on. Because it's kind of weird, you know, for people to say
Yeah,
this, you know. And I'm like, well, I don't even have the money I used to have before, so why are you thinking this? It kind of helped boost my confidence though, when somebody would even think that much of me to think that I'm better than them. You know,
right,
who cares
right,
if I think I'm better than you? That's
right.
the other
Yeah,
question.
it's
Like,
on
who
you, man.
cares?
Yeah, it's on you. It's like, why do you care? Like, why do you give a shit whether I think that or not? I don't. So why would you give a shit in the first place? Why are you worried about what I think?
Yeah, I
And
guess that's the question I should ask if that ever comes up again. Why do you care if I think that,
right.
does
Yeah,
it
I
make
mean,
you
who gives
feel
a shit?
bad? I guess it makes them feel inferior, or that I'm putting them down or something, even though I haven't said it. I think that what it is, a person's actions, um, you know what it is, like positivity. I've noticed when I try to be positive, sometimes I actually get pushback from people.
Yeah, and those are the people that don't. They're obviously not positive themselves. People need to understand it's like you can't do it 100% of the time. You know, it's natural to be a hypocrite. You can't do anything 100% of the time. So especially with positivity, you know, you're feeling good. Some people don't like to see you feel good. Some people don't like to see you do well.
Yeah.
So soon as you slip up, which will happen, it'll happen to every single person on this planet. You will slip up, right? Or you're going to have a day where you're not as positive, or something like that. And those are the days and those are the times that negative people jump on.
Yeah, they just wait
You
for it,
know,
huh? They wait for
yeah,
an
they just
opportunity
wait
to
for
say,
it.
"I told you so." Hey, you're not doing what you said you are, and like,
Yeah,
and not
people
really.
who say, yeah, yeah, people who say "I told you so." It's they're just waiting for someone to be down where they are, down, feel how they feel. You just got to let those people. And sometimes it is. We talk about this all the time. Sometimes it's people you're closest to. Sometimes it's people you love. They just don't have the same mindset. So
That's why networking is
that's what they'll
important.
do.
Networking is
Hmm.
important because you want to have a bunch of people you can lean on, I guess. Instead of
Hmm.
having one group where you kind of stuck with them, where it's like, well, these people are negative. It's either them or be alone. That's why you have to seek out other people and seek out like-minded people.
Yeah, you need to have people. And we talked about this as well. Is when you have people who are you can have mentors. They can be older, they can be younger. It doesn't matter, but they can be for specific things, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be one person who does it all for you, right? So you have a mentor who's like you look up to him because he's a good dad, and you're like, oh man, I kind of emulate what he's doing a little bit, or someone else is doing well in a career that you want to do well in. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to emulate them a little bit. You're going to kind of follow what they're doing, standing on the shoulders of giants, things like that we talked about before. And that's okay. It's okay to search outside to get people to help you with certain aspects of your life. Uh, but people, it just seems to be like the opposite is true for negative people. Negative people are going to be negative, and they're going to be what you call soul draining, right?
Yeah, like energy
Um,
vampires.
Energy vampires, right? They're going to be energy vampires anytime you do poorly. They can't wait to jump on it. They just can't wait. It's their default, and they unfortunately they're just spiritually sick.
Yeah,
They're just spiritually sick.
but they don't mind being
It's
contagious. They won't self quarantine, so they
it's
don't
true.
they don't mind being contagious and just coming
No,
around
they
you
want
and try to make your day just as bad as theirs is.
they want to spread it, man. Misery loves company. They want to know that somebody has it as bad as them, because that's all they think about is how bad shit is. And when somebody has it as bad as them, or so they perceive, they love to dwell on it. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
People just love to dwell on it.
And
I have
just
family members like that, and it's just I'm like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna take a big risk and start this business. And all they want to do is tell you what's gonna go wrong with it, right?
yeah.
And they should just say, you know what? I wish the best for you. I hope it works out. If there's anything I can do, let me know.
Or they may not believe it's gonna work, and they might not want it to work. Because a lot of people don't want to be alone either. People don't want to feel like um you're leaving them. You know,
Right.
like, but the thing is
Yeah.
that it just takes action. And you talk about like people. I've done it before where I focus on the problem more so than the solution, and I get a lot better results when I'm focusing on the ways that I can get better instead of, oh,
You
this
said that
is,
backwards.
what do
You
you
said
mean?
that backwards. You said you focus on the problem more than the solution. You said that backwards. You focus on the solution more than the problem, right?
No, I have focused on the problem more than the solution, and I haven't
Oh,
gotten
you
good
have. Okay.
results when I've done that. But when I focus on the solution
Oh,
and
okay.
actually try to put something into action, then that's when I have better results. But see, the focusing on the solution and then action takes energy. It really doesn't take any energy to focus on the problem. And then, another thing I notice is I can feel sorry for myself, and I can even have other people say, you know what, you were done wrong. It is messed up. And they can feel sorry for me too. But still, at the end of the day, even if people acknowledge that I've been done wrong and they feel sorry for me, and then it's like, what's next? I still have to,
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good.
yeah,
Doesn't do you any good. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to vent, and everybody does it, man. No one's saying you got to be perfect and you got to let everything that happens to you just slide. But you have to limit the time that you spend in a negative mindset. And sometimes, like you were saying, sometimes the best way to do that is, just take a leap of faith. Just start taking action without really knowing what you're doing, and you can figure it out along the way. But if you sit there and stew and try to figure out how to do it the perfect way, you're just wasting
yeah,
time.
yeah. You have to do it
But yeah, negative,
imperfectly.
negative. Yeah, and that's what negative people don't understand is, some people, they sit there and they analyze all day before they do something, and then it never gets done, and then it's like analysis paralysis, right? Sometimes you just, like if you're building a house, first thing you do is you just start digging, right? You may not know the shape of it or whatever, but you got to start digging, so start there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. You
Yeah,
just have
you
to
just
start
take that leap of
somewhere.
faith.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just start somewhere. And it's more important to do the action. And that's what a lot of negative people don't understand. So what they do is they sit there and stagnate, and it's kind of like a poison. Like you get around it, and it'll make you sick too if you stay around it too long.
yeah.
And
That's why you have to get away
yeah,
from it.
and the only yeah, you have to get away from them, or I mean, you could try to teach them what you're doing. But these people do. A lot of these people don't even believe they're being negative. They're like, oh no, I'm being a realist. Well, there's no such thing.
Do you think that, or do you think
Reality
they
is
just lying to keep you around so they can continue to have somebody negative to spew their negativity to?
I really don't think anybody does it on purpose. I really don't believe people go out there and they're like, yeah, I'm going to be negative today. Like people think that, being a quote unquote realist is what they're being, but there's no such thing. Reality is what reality is, right? And you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it positively. Any situation, you can look at it positively or negatively, right? So if you have something like it's not a failure if you learn, right? So you have a setback or you took a couple steps back after you took a few steps forward. Negative people are going to look at it like, oh man, I really fucked up, man. I screwed up. I did all this, whatever. I've done it. I've done it
Yeah,
for
me
sure,
too.
man. It's really hard to get. Yeah, it's really hard to get out of that mindset if you don't do it right away or as soon as possible. But yeah, that's what negative people look at. There's only two ways to look at a situation. It's positive or negative. If you look at a setback as something that's a learning experience, something like you can go forward, anything you can do to make it positive. Negative people, they'll look at a positive situation and make it negative. But there's no such thing as a realist.
Well,
Everybody,
go ahead.
everybody sees the same facts. It's just how you process it in your mind. You either process it positively or negatively. That's all I was gonna say. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Now some people don't. Some people ignore the facts now. So we can't forget that. Some for real. Some people just flat out ignore the
I know,
facts.
man.
But I was gonna say,
I know.
as far as I think this is one of the failures of the school system, and I guess it's purposely done. And in our society, that we don't teach that failure is going to happen and should not be looked at negatively. And we don't teach that embarrassment is an option that we choose to feel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
the other thing is energy. Like I said, to get up and do something, you need energy. And if you're around negative people, it's going to be harder. Or if you're in a negative mindset, it's going to be harder. So you have to. What helped me is actually listen to positive motivation and trying to stay around
Mhm.
positive people to actually give you that energy and that boost, kind of like put the battery, in you to get going, and then to have something, a goal to strive to. I think that's the other thing. I think sometimes negative people might be hopeless. You know.
Yeah, maybe. It's and again, negative people don't think they're being negative. That's the biggest thing. Kind of like racist. A lot of racist people don't think they're racist. Trying to convince them of that is just some. I mean, it's worth a try, but sometimes you're just talking to a wall. Same thing with negative people. And anybody in any kind of mindset that they're comfortable unless they want to get uncomfortable and get out of it, or unless they see the error of their ways. Unfortunately, even if it's someone you love, uh, yeah, it might be a waste of your time to even try. It
So,
might be a waste of your
yeah,
energy.
yeah. Maybe try
You know,
once, but then if they're not receptive, you kind of have to, because you just never know how people are going to respond to information. Sometimes people will surprise you. Sometimes the people you don't think will. I mean, that's just like in life, right? Sometimes the people that
hmm
were jealous of you or turned on you or didn't support you, they surprise you. You're like, I'm surprised this person was fake. So I mean,
yeah.
you'd be surprised at who would actually support you.
I truly believe not to give anybody advice unless they ask for it. Once you ask, you're being receptive, right? But if you ask for my advice and I give it to you a couple times and you're not taking it, then you realize that the asking is just a front. You're not really being receptive.
So you think they're just
You have
trying
to
to vent?
honestly. Yeah, a lot of times people are just trying to vent. They're trying to vent. They're trying to get it off their chest. They feel better for a little minute, but they don't change the overall mindset that got them there in the first place.
Hmm.
So they just end up back there, and it's a cycle.
All right,
You
so we
know,
got 1 minute left. It's difficult, man. It's difficult to change cycles. It's difficult to change mindsets, especially when you've been in them so long.
absolutely. It took me, this past time that I had a little funk, man. It's taken me almost 2 years, but I'm out of it. I'm getting out of it. But it's just like any other muscle, man. You just got to keep working on it, and try not to get discouraged. But the first and foremost, and this is the hardest part, kind of like with the protests, with the racism, with anybody in a negative mindset, is you have to recognize there's a problem in the first place, and
Yeah,
that's the hardest part.
you have to be honest with
Yeah, that's
yourself
the
and
hardest.
be introspective. And it's hard to be honest with yourself, man. It's things that I've been honest with myself about, and it really it hurt. It's
Yeah,
painful
it's the
too.
most painful part too. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, you're
No, that
absolutely
was
right.
it. Yeah, so I'll just let you get the last word
Okay.
then.
All right. Yeah. So if anybody, number one, no matter what it is, if anybody tells you what you think, you should be careful about the conversation going forward from there. And if people were on the same path, or had the same kind of mindset, they would understand that it has nothing to do with them or you versus them. So again, this has been another episode of the Gray Area Podcast. Let us know what you think about this conversation in the comments. Uh, you know, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and pick your own topics. But until next time.